This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
What's going on, guys? Dan Watson, and we are out at the beach with a really cool car right here, and we're going to be doing some tests with the Tamron 70 to 180 millimeter. We're going to compare it to the Sonys, do some video, photo, all kinds of stuff, so stay tuned. We'll make this fun. Let me know below what you guys think is the favorite of these lenses, and feel free to hit me up with any questions you have below as well. So let's get started. So we've got the Tamron 70 to 180, Sony's 70 to 200, both on A7 IIIs. I'm gonna do a couple tests because I'm kind of curious how these lenses compare both at 70 millimeters and all the way extended. So we'll do a couple tests on the car here and see. ISO 100, F2.8, and I like 1/3200th. And we'll keep the car centered for these. And let's do one at 70 millimeters. And then go ahead and go to 200. All right, see if you can back up to where like 180 might be. Try and get close.
Be it there?
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and take that picture. All right, so we are also at identical settings, so you can kind of see the light output as well, just in case these might be a little bit different. Those look pretty similar.
Yeah.
All right, not too bad at all. So I really want to see the focus speed difference between the 7200 f2.8 and the Tamron 70 to 180. So we'll have Philip come towards us on the skateboard and see if we can really see the difference between how well these lenses are shooting. I picked them up. Hold it down once you get it. Right about that same time. Nice. All right, so let's do video, and then actually do 4K 30 frames per second. All right, perfect. So we're doing a little video test right here. Good. All right, these are looking pretty good. So we'll take these back and see how things look on the computer.
All right, so now we're back in the studio. I've had a couple days to kind of go over and compare those images and do some new side-by-sides here in the studio as well. Some really interesting results right here. And if this video is in any way helpful, I really appreciate you guys hitting like, comment, subscribe. They're a little harder to put together, these videos, but if you're spending thousands of dollars on new gear, I really think it can be helpful to know the details of these lenses right here, and these are no exception. Definitely, if you guys need a better online presence or you need to revamp or create a new website, head to squarespace.com. It's so easy, it's amazing out there, and I really appreciate them supporting the channel and allowing me to create videos like this. You guys know they have a bunch of awesome templates, and it's so crazy easy to get your site set up in a matter of minutes. So I want to add a picture for my camera guides right on the front page. I can just click this little image search, type in camera, and bam, I've got all of these amazing images I can use as a thumbnail. Maybe you've got something like a food blog, no problem. Squarespace has you covered here. And just check this out. I can still go in here, change my photo settings, control my crops, custom filters, just anything that you can think of. I can now add my products to sell for an entire storefront. I can create some awesome custom galleries, which I can even have password protected for my clients, which is awesome. And then even for my latest Instagram image, they can be imported to the gallery here or post automatically to the website homepage. So go ahead and start building it. It is completely free to get started. There's no credit card or anything required. When you're done building and you want to go live with that site, go ahead and type in coupon code learning cameras and you can go live with it today. So I do want to talk about that autofocus test because the results here are actually really interesting. So the setup for this test was I had my buddy Philip, who you guys might remember from a 1DX Mark III video with the Porsche Taycan, and that was absolutely amazing. Need to hit him up again because I want to do some more exotic car shoots. That was a whole lot of fun. but I had him riding towards us just about as fast as he could on the board. Now the Sony looked great in those last few frames, but the first couple images, for whatever reason, seemed to front focus pretty dramatically, and they were just not detailed or sharp or locked on. However, the Tamron 70 to 180, even comparing those last few frames, just seemed crisper and more detailed, so it locked on better. And then it really held my subject throughout the entire series. There was one image that seemed to go out and lock on that background until I realized that there was some dude hanging out in the back corner, and the camera, for whatever reason, thought that he should be the subject and not Philip. However, what's amazing is that as soon as the camera realized that Philip was the subject, it switched back, locked on him in an instant, and didn't miss another photo from there on out. So these are the linear focusing motors that are new for Tamron. We've seen them in Sony's high-end lenses before, getting very precise and extremely fast autofocus performance to be able to switch subjects that quickly and make that focus move and still lock on your target that well. Now, we did this test a few times, and in each one, the Tamron really locked on the best and either held its own or exceeded what the Sony was doing on that one. And then also for video as well, both lenses kind of struggled, or cameras struggled, to lock on the subject initially, but once it did, the Tamron did a better job locking on it than the Sony did. And overall for video performance as well, the Tamron is doing an amazing job. Now out in the field, it can be a little more difficult to see kind of the nuances between the lenses, but I have been shooting with all three of these lenses, but the 70 to 180 for a while. Even with the A7R4 with 65 megapixels and 100% zoomed in, these results look amazing, very crisp, very detailed. So overall, this lens is doing well, especially with this camera, which is really pushing the limits of any lens. Now back in the studio, I would say that the 7200 had a slight edge when it came to detail. However, I was also noticing some chromatic aberration that I was not seeing in the Tamron. I'm not sure how much of this you'll be able to see in YouTube, but you can see that coming in on the Sony lens, and I wasn't seeing it on the Tamron. Now, bokeh can be a bit more subjective on this one, but it was amazing how similar these two lenses were in this. Both of them are a little bit on the busy side. I'd give a slight edge to the Sony for being a little bit less busy and more smooth. However, they look almost identical. Actually, the issue was actually with the 7200 f4, because not only does this lens not close focus at all, but then you are at an f4 max aperture versus f2.8. So that background is blurring even less. So you're letting less light in, you're having less background blur, and you're not able to close focus as much. So the advantage here is definitely going to be with both of these lenses edging out that 7200 f4. Now the build is actually what's going to separate these lenses apart the most. Tamron here is going for compact size, even making some build quality choices to save money or to save size and weight, and that is going to mean that the outside is more of a plastic build. It's extremely high quality. I've had the other Tamron series lenses for a while. I have not scratched them or beat them up. However, it is not going to be as solid as the complete metal build of both of these Sonys right here. Also, you are going to notice that this is a telescoping lens right here. So as you zoom from 70 millimeters to 180, it will get larger. That does mean that it gets smaller in your bag. This also does mean that there's an area for potential dust and water to get inside the lens. However, this does have 8 seals on it. It is weather sealed. So overall, it's been doing pretty well. Now, both the Sonys are internal zoom, so they will not extend as you zoom, and that's also going to make it a little bit better for weather sealing as well. The other thing you'll notice is you're going to get tons of dials and buttons on here, including a custom button for triggering some functions that you can set in the camera, your AF manual focus button, some focus limit buttons, and everything like that. You will not have any of that on the Tamron. So the only thing here is a locking mechanism, which works in 70 millimeters, so you can lock that lens and make sure it doesn't move at all in your bag. Now, one of these buttons on here controls image stabilization on the lens. So you will also see no image stabilization built into the lens itself. Now, Tamron's defense on that is going to be that pretty much all Sony bodies have image stabilization inside the body itself, so you don't need image stabilization. However, do keep in mind that at these longer focal lengths, like 180 or 200, image stabilization built into the lens is more effective, and image stabilization built into the body is going to be less effective. Now, I have some of the worst stable hands in the world, and so I drank a couple things of coffee and handheld these lenses to see what they could do. The 7200 f2.8 is definitely a little smoother handheld at 200 millimeters than the Tamron at 180. However, the results are pretty similar. If I was shooting with each of these lenses, I would have no problem composing at all with the image stabilization built into the body as my main image stabilization source. Now, this is still a win for Sony here because you are going to see a difference with that image stabilization built into the lens plus the image stabilization built into the body itself. It's just not going to be as massive as I might have thought, and I do think that you'll be absolutely fine just with image stabilization in the body itself. So obviously the question is, which is going to be the best lens for you? And I would definitely say that between the Tamron and the Sony f4, the Tamron is going to be the one to go with because you're getting that wider aperture, you're getting amazing autofocus performance with those linear actuators, you're getting better macro ability, just all around overall great image quality from that, and you're doing it at a lower cost with a weight and size advantage on here. Pretty much the only advantage to the f4 is going to be the fact that you have that all metal build quality, and then you're going to get image stabilization built into the lens, which only helps you a little bit in certain areas, like if you're not shooting those faster shutter speeds. However, the f2.8 version of this Sony lens is going to give you quite a few advantages here. You're getting the ultimate when it comes to image quality and also in build quality itself. So yes, less vignetting, a little bit more detail. We're getting more light coming into the lens itself. And then obviously you have these custom function buttons, all of your controls, image stabilization built into it. And then you're doing all of that with that f2.8 aperture. But keep in mind, this lens is $2,600, which I think even pros thought was extremely expensive. You can actually get two of these for the price of this and still have a couple $100 left over for dinner. So do keep that in mind. I know for me, I would rather have some extra money to throw on some lenses, and the image quality from the Tamron was great. However, if you want the ultimate and you don't care about the size, weight, and also the price of your gear, you are still going to have a few advantages to that Sony 7200 f2.8, which help justify that price increase. So as always, hit me up in the comments below if you guys have any questions on that. Also, we are still doing a few more tests and shooting some portrait shoots with Sally for the full review of the Tamron. So stay tuned, subscribe for that. Ask me if you have any questions on it. And then also, hope you guys are doing well. Come say hi on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, and I'll see you soon in a new video.